Okay, we're going to do some quick versions, or a quick version, of a scene that I just completed yesterday called Social Distancing. It's a sailboat, kind of in a tropical setting with the palm stalks and fronds added to it on a half-page piece of paper. But we're going to do a quarter page, just because it's so much faster, of course. And we will kind of, bypass a couple of the other steps. Some of them kind of more fine minutiae steps that I tend to be very much into, but we can of course do these scenes without that type of detailing, but they will be just as effective in terms of an overall kind of visual. They just won't have the details in it like a kind of a more extended type of scene. I always look for these quick scenes to be kind of in the, I like them to be within, I don't know, like a half an hour type of project, 20 minutes, half hour or so. That was the Seaside Cove, small version. Okay, you can also use the larger version on this one. Alright, this is the tiny rocks, kind of giving it this rocky shoreline right here. I did a couple impressions that are a little bit lighter, so you can go for some multi-tone impressions in there as well. Okay, you can watch my Stampscapes U in terms of university, in terms of kind of partial images and kind of wiping off your images for the purpose of lighting. So if you have a lighter version in there, it means the light is hitting it harder. Alright, you can put any type of cloud figure up here. I'm going to use the cloud Altocumulus. It's kind of been a go-to image for a lot of different scenes that I've been doing lately. Lately meaning the past few months, especially when it comes to sky figures. Alright, now just going back to what I was mentioning about kind of partial impressions. I'm not really not stamping out certain parts of this, although you can do that. But what I'm doing is I'm wiping off certain areas to give it variation in my impression. If you color it all up in one color, it will have some degree of impression value, because some of these little areas are made out of dots and some of them are more solid, okay? But if I just wipe it off like this, it will give me a little bit more variation in terms of that type of coloring that I did, okay? So you can see where I've kind of wiped off right in there, so it stamps out lighter because it's drier, okay? And that gives you more variety, and it's a quick way to kind of define lighting, okay, using the left and right side of this to overlap into the areas that it wasn't stamped in. Overlap it pretty good, and you'll get a nice seamless transition in there. Okay, no masking or anything like that required. Okay, 3 stamps. Let's wait to stamp our foreground in there after we color this whole scene in. I don't want to have to wait for these things to dry, so, and kind of retaining that process for later, it can kind of give us a little bit more of a crisp impression too, okay? Especially when it comes to solid images like that. If I kind of wipe across there like that too much, it could kind of blur it a little bit. Not so much, especially with black Marvy. with some other tones it can potentially do that. Okay, so I'm starting off with some blue dye-based inks. You can use Distress, Tumbled Glass, Broken China, Memento, Summer Sky, Bahama Blue, something like that, okay? I usually work through whatever ones I have, and, you know, if I have 5 blues, I might use them all. It might be a little bit overkill, but, you know, if you have them, why not? Okay, so adding some tone down like this. Retain some areas of light, kind of towards the middle of the scene, okay? Just go like that from the outside, lightly wiping. You're not trying to go for a scrub like that, okay? You're just lightly, you know, wiping it in like so. Alright? That way you get this nice transitioning swipe like that, okay? And that's what I'm doing. I'm wiping it from the outside edge in like that. Okay. Now here's what's fun about the Seaside Cove. It's the easiest masking job, process, whatever, that you'll ever do, because you just mask it off like so, straight edge like that, and I can kind of go for a harder perimeter horizon line. I can put a little bit of this blue down here. I think I will go a little bit more brown down on the bottom portion, beiges and what, sandy tones. Alright, see that nice horizon line like that? Easy stuff. Okay, now remember just to, here's the thing that people always have a hard time with. When it comes to lighting, they fill in everything, right? Lighting is just a matter of retaining some areas of light down there, okay? Oh, you know what I did in my scene yesterday? I don't think I have it anymore. Here's what we can do too. This is supposed to be a quick scene. I'm looking for my hole punch. Here we go. So we're just going to hole punch a Post-it note. Let me go on the side here. I'll conserve. That's my area underneath. Hole punch like that, little dot, right? And I'll put this somewhere down. I'll aim for the middle, like about like so. Now I already have that cloud in there, so that cloud is going to be in it a little bit, so, you know, that's okay. Because that area is kind of, you know, I retain the lighter tone down there. Alright, now, but this looks pretty good, and all it is just one color so far, right? Pretty good in terms of lighting. Okay. Let me get reorganized here. Here we go. So I'm looking for my lid. Alright, this is Caribbean blue. Try another blue now. You know, go ahead and layer another blue into it. Okay. This. Now, here's the thing. Try to retain your light areas in here. It might not be a lot of light. Okay. But try and retain some. Don't go color over everything. It's usually kind of when people move into the darker tones, if they haven't really done this before. Medium to darker tones, they just kind of lose, you know, that light right within there. Or in here, they just kind of color in the whole thing. But we don't want to do that, okay? So just kind of put a streak here and there. What I'm doing is this, and this, and this. Kind of that type of thing. Alright, now if we want to go for a different hue down on the horizon, like maybe sunset type of thing, blues harmonize really well with pinks. So if you have some sort of pink, I don't know a lot of the different pinks out there, because I don't have a lot of pinks from other companies. So I have my Marvies. I mean, you could use something like a pen if you don't have something else. And here's what we're going to do on the scene that I did yesterday. What I did was I masked off this way now, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pink tones, like so, and I will come across right in there. Try not to lift off your post-it note there, so when you go over the post-it note, kind of go with a little bit of a lighter touch, maybe. This, and I'll try to come in this way too. Okay, maybe I'll put a little pink up, oops, a little pink up that way. Alright, some of that kind of pink horizon glow. Let's put a little bit of pink in this water just so it's referencing some of that color up there just a touch. And why don't we bring some of that light down here into this sandy area. I'm doing it with a really dry paper towel at this point in time. Okay, so I know a lot of you have a lot of distress inks, some of those more popular ink lines out there. What you're going to do is you're going to grab a very light one. I don't know, antique linen, old paper, walnut stain's a little bit too dark, you know, but some sort of light, kind of, you know, brownish tone, beige, that type of color, okay? This is going to warm everything up now, all right? Okay, let's see if you can see kind of the changes with this one. You can put it everywhere, too. You can put it in your water. You know, maybe not put it everywhere, but you can put it in a lot of areas. Okay, I'm even putting it up in my sky. I could put it down, you know, on my horizon glow, about like so. Just right over the pink. It kind of warms up the pink and makes it a little bit richer as a result. Anytime you layer colors into your piece, it creates, you know, especially if you're doing these things called analogous colors. Those are colors that are right next to each other on the color wheel. Well, in design, or I don't know, maybe not design, but visuals, when you put analogous colors next to each other, what it does is creates a color glow, okay? So a lot of my pieces, you know, people like that color glow. Well, that's all I'm doing is I'm putting color over color over color, all right? It's not any real secret, but that's the trick. I don't know, I try to teach everyone that. You know, just going for layers. Most people just color, you know, in a lot of types of coloring. I would say by and large, most people are doing, oh, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 layers of colors overlapping at most, okay? But I'm putting a little bit of a larger saturation. I might use 2 to 3, but I'll use a lot of that color, okay? So right now I'm just going on with some lilac. If you have some kind of violet tones, you can use something like that. You don't have to. And I just put it right on here. Let's go to a darker blue. Let's go to kind of a navy blue. Mermaid Lagoon. Blueprint Copy, I think it is, in Distress. I forgot. Something like that. Blueprint Sketch, I think. Okay, let's mask this off and make our horizon a little bit darker. Okay. See, I'm going to try to stay well away from that area down there, okay? Kind of become a little bit more perimeter oriented. See what's going on there? And what is this, you know? I mean, this is a pretty, you know, fully realized piece. We're just, what, 13 minutes into it. Alright. Now, down there, that kind of beige-ish tone is, it's kind of missing a little something, huh? Let's go to something like a walnut stain. Okay, let's keep this area in here a little bit lighter than the perimeter. Okay, so let's go with the walnut stain and go a little bit more perimeter oriented. I'll bring it in from the side like this, okay, and leave this area just light. So a few swipes of that and we're done. I mean, we could add more, but you don't have to. For the sake of expediency in this one, we'll just leave it as is. Let's go to black right here. Now, black is where a lot of people have kind of a a rough time in the beginning, but you don't have to use black, okay? You use, well, here, let me use this kind of purple side. I'm just reusing this one just because I'm done with that blue. Might as well use the same paper towel. Here's what we're doing. You're not going with black like that, okay? You're going with grays, right? And see that swipe right there? That's what you want. So let me show you it in application right here, okay? See this right here? See, I keep using it. Now look how dry it is. It's like charcoal or something like that. And I don't think about it in terms of like you're using a marker, going for like a thick slathering. Think about it like you're using like charcoal on a paper towel or something like that, or on a sponge, and you're lightly adding it onto something. That way you'll get this nice transition like that. See, it's never like some hard edge black and then it's just light like that. Okay, it's just kind of like that. Let's do it on the other side. Let me show you it again right over here. Okay, just go like this, light dabbing, light touch. Okay, mostly start off the page and then you work in like that. Okay. Okay, do this up here in the sky as well. I'm not going to do the crepuscular rays. That's it takes a little bit longer than a quick scene. Than I'd want a quick scene to represent at least. All right, so see that little kind of darker edges like that. Okay, now let's go in. Okay, we need a new paper towel. Let's go for a little bit more of a kind of a deeper glow here on the horizon. Okay. Grab a new paper towel. It's always about a quarter page, half page paper towel. Oops. My little sun just came out. These post-it notes aren't super sticky. And plus this one's been kind of off. It's my little scrap piece on my desk here, so it's not real sticky anymore. Okay, here we got that horizon mask again, masking off the horizon for the sky. Let's go on with a little bit of a brighter pink down here, a little bit of stronger glow maybe. Alright, now I wish I had some lighter reds. Let me try this. Ew, that's really dark. Let's go with the pink, alcohol marker, okay? So adding it down like so, kind of on the horizon. Alright, now, let's go for this red here, but we don't have to use like a super bright red, right? I can go for this red right here, and utilizing this technique right here, okay? That's too red. It's too red to control right now, but here. Boy, that ink pad was really re-inked sometime, and I haven't used it a lot since, I guess. Alright, so kind of just adding it down like so. Okay, right on the horizon like that. Alright, it kind of looks weird. I need to blend it in a little bit. See, blending in, you use the lighter version of it, the drier version of it. And you just kind of blend it in like so. Actually, that looks pretty good right there. Alright. Where did my black? Here we go. I need my black applicator. Stamping doesn't have to be costly. I don't know. When you have thousands of stamps, maybe so, but you know, in terms of how you use media and whatnot. What is this? This right here is 3 stamps. You know, you're using a little post-it note for a sun, a paper towel for the application process, and there's a lot of colors on this right now. Okay, a little bit of a darker horizon. I kind of went darker on my Seaside Cove small yesterday, and because I was referencing a photo, and I thought, that looks pretty good. I usually keep it a little bit lighter like this one, though. Alright, see that kind of horizon glow like that? Okay, let's remove that post-it there. Alright, now you have this little white area in there, okay? And what we'll do is I'll come into it with this little yellow alcohol marker. Oop, that's not it. Here it is right here. And I don't color in the whole thing, I just kind of leave the middle as is. And then I come in with a kind of a lighter shade. This is kind of like a peach color, and I'll kind of blend that in a little bit. We'll kind of come out here in the surrounding area as well. Okay, and now, if you have something like a really dark go-to pad, use that. My super dark go-to foreground pad is Versafine. It's a pigment ink. It's an oil-based pigment ink. Okay, so it really gets quite dark. But if you're using a black pad, dye-based pad, just make sure it's inked up enough, and then here's the trick for you, okay? If you're using a black dye-based pad, make sure it's inked up enough, but stamp your image, your foreground imagery out. Now don't smash it down, that's not going to get it darker. What you need is that ink to transfer, okay? So this page right here, you know, the surface, I mean, it's not damp to the touch or anything like that, but it's certainly moist, okay? At least in the pulp of the paper. So you need this ink to transfer over, so you're going to hold it, you know, just a nice even pressure, and then hold it down for a little bit, and then remove it. Now, I didn't need to do that with this Versafine, because it's real thick and surface-oriented. It doesn't work by staining the surface like dye-based inks do. I'm going to use this at a little bit of an angle on my second impression, off to the side to kind of frame off this scene in here. Alright? Okay, now, fronds, okay? Always aim that little bit, oops. Focusing, trying to focus, right here. Aim that part with the tops of the stalks, okay? Like that. And sometimes I get, say, this one over here, and then you can have it pointed down too, like that. You know, there's this one going off the page, it's coming from over here. You don't have to be exact on that one, you know, by any means. This one's kind of like so. Yeah, it gets a little cluttered looking, but it looks fine when you get it all kind of stamped out. Okay, let's put another one out here. Like so. This is stamp Frond number 3. Kind of bends right to left. This one's a left to right, kind of downward slope. Okay. Now, for me, I'm going to just be careful about not going over my sun if I want that sun to, you know, stand out enough. Okay, this one's coming from this other stalk out here on the other side. Kind of wanted to fill in that area out there a little bit. Let me see. I like this one over here. Kind of like, maybe like this, like this. All right. I want to fill in some of this over here a little bit more. Kind of make it just this solid thing. Okay, so we have that. We have our frame there. It's kind of framing off the scenes. Any type of trees do that. And then, okay, we have this half-page scene. Do I have room? The sailboat, I guess I do. I'll just have the sailboat kind of going up into the sky a little bit, breaking the horizon line. Okay. We'll have our sailboat in there. Now, yesterday what I did was I spent a lot of time kind of drawing in the shadow for that. Well, I was going to say I won't do too much of that, but it's easy to do with the alcohol pen, so why not? Okay, so let's give a little bit of opacity and visual weight. I'm being careful, kind of. I am going into that boat a little bit, so I just totally smeared some of that ink down there, but I'm utilizing some of that ink for the shadow, okay? Okay, so kind of, I went in with a little bit of a darker one, but let me use this lighter one now. This is just a light blue, and see with this light blue you can kind of come into these areas right now. Kind of be careful not to go over your pigment ink, because it'll smear it at this point in time. Versafine dries slowly. It does dry, but it dries pretty slow. Alright, so you can kind of come in here into the shadows and just do a little fine-tuning. Okay. If you have them, use it. If you don't, I would suggest you at least think about getting one of these pens if I can find mine. Here we go. A white paint pen. Okay, now, boy, I've been using the Uniball Signo white gel pen for years, and I do like it a lot, but I'm finding maybe the white paint pen might be a little bit kind of more versatile in terms of its usage. You can go over things a little bit more with a paint pen than with a rollerball gel pen. I'm not ready at this point in time just to say scrap it, but I don't know, I'm watching my kind of inclination, and I seem to be going for the white paint pen more often. These are really inexpensive too. They're only about, you know, they're so inexpensive they don't sell them by a single pen like on Amazon. They're like in packs of like 5 to 10. It's almost too much, you know, to have it, but I don't know, like they're like $1 each, or I don't know, it was something like that, 50 cents or $1 each or something. So pretty inexpensive. Okay, but we're adding these little splashes down here. I can kind of reiterate what's going on in some of these the waves where they're cresting. You can add a little bit of a, you know, that shimmering surface to your water. And I mean, this doesn't take too much time. I mean, you could, you know, it could take a long time if you spend a lot, you know, you want to keep adding. But sometimes a few little highlights like this can really animate a piece, and, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot of them to be able to bring an otherwise kind of, you know, lackluster area to life. Okay, so this down here in the water, it looks like it's kind of shimmery now. There's a kind of kinetic type of feel to it, you know what I mean? Just in terms of the textures down here and on the water surface like so. So kind of cluster a little bit more in the light, and then you kind of dissipate it, you know, as it moves out into the darkness, because this is supposed to be highlighting. So in the shadows and everything like that, you probably won't have so much lighting, right? Add it down, you know, and just one at a time. Hold it out at arm's distance to see if you like it or not. And if you like it and you want to add more, you can. You can add some down here in the, you know, this water on the sand, this glistening sand. So the sand's not really glistening, but until you put some sort of shimmering type of surface on it. Okay? Anyways, there we have it. A pretty complete scene, and there it is in half an hour. So pretty complete in terms of the visual statement, at least in terms of all the different techniques. We have background in terms of the sky. A lot of sky got filled in, but you can kind of see that glow going back there. I don't know, maybe I should have spread out my palm, you know, fronds a little bit, or trees a little bit, you know, farther apart so I can retain more of that sky, but it, you know, it kind of helps it a little bit. Let me see, let me change the exposure. Okay, that's more like it. That's about what this scene looks like in real life. Okay, so we have our background, we have our masked sun technique right there with a little bit of spot coloring with the alcohol pens. You have a lot of variation on the surface of the water here. You have the lighting, you have the shimmering light, you have the nice dark deep foreground imagery to frame off the scene, so you have that for composition. Texturing down here with a kind of reiteration of this dark to light, dark to light, dark to light type of lighting convention in here. And then all the little effects in here, so it's quite a statement. You know, it's a pretty full statement in terms of really not missing anything. I like a little bit of white pigment ink on mine, but that's another technique that you can apply and, you know, incorporate in with this scene. I would put it a little bit down here in the crashing waves, and that doesn't take too much time to do, and quite fun. If you're using Versafine, always kind of have that as your last step, because this on glossy cardstock, depending on where you're living, you know, it takes a while to dry. I can see it kind of beaded up a little bit, not beaten up, beaded. As soon as I can catch it in the light, I don't know if you can tell. You know, you can tell some areas a little bit different looking. Those ones are, that's the area that's still a little wet. Okay, but it is setting up fairly quick. You know, I'd say it's a little bit dry, the weather here. If you're out in Arizona, it dries much faster, you know, stuff like that. But anyway, okay, so if you did this as a stamp along, I hope you had a good time. And if you have any questions, drop me a note in the comment section. Let me know how it goes. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning into the channel as always. And if you like this video, hope you hit the like button.